One of the most popular questions I see on the TRX forums on a daily basis, and I also get it right here on YouTube in the comments section, is what tonneau cover will fit with the ram bar on the TRX? Well, we're going to answer that today. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to the vlog. Thanks for pressing play. Today, like I said, we are installing the tonneau cover on the Ram TRX, and it's all thanks to our friends over at Retrax. This is going to be one of the cooler tonneau covers because I've been kind of on the search for one of these that will, number one, fit the TRX, number two, look good on the TRX. So, like I said, let's finish this unboxing process and get into the installation. And it's pretty easy, guys. The answer is right here. So the Retrax. Now this particular one is the non-powered version, but it is the aluminum version, so it can handle a little bit more weight up on top. You can stack things on top of it and everything, but this looks really good on the truck, and we're gonna talk a lot about it in detail here in a second. But first, let's go ahead and unbox this thing and start the installation process, because yes, not only am I gonna show you which one works with the TRX, but I'm also gonna show you how to install this thing. So as we're doing the unboxing here, guys, I just want to give a real quick thank you to Retrax. They're the ones that actually provided the products for this video. You can check them out in the link in the description down below. It's just www.realtruck.com for all of your truck/Jeep and off-roading needs. For those who don't know, Retrax is not only the #1 truck mod e-commerce retailer in North America, but they also own and manufacture 28 of the brands they sell, like Amp Research, Husky, Gator, Tuxedo, and more. Anyway, check out the link down below to grab some products for your truck right from them. Awesome place to be if you're a truck guy. So here's the side rails I was talking about. As you can see from the side, they're actually pretty low profile, which is another reason I chose this tonneau cover, because it's going to be pretty much invisible from the side once it's installed. So this is pretty much it. You got the two rails and the canister with your tonneau cover in it. And then of course you got your bag of hardware here. This is for holding the rails to the actual rail of the truck. That's pretty much it. This is gonna be the install right there. So once again, guys, like I said, we were gonna talk a little bit more about this. This is the model I got. It is the Retrax MX 80243 part number. And like I said, this is the non-power version of this, but it is the metal version, so it can handle a little bit more weight on top of the actual tonneau cover when installed. But it's also not the version that has extra tracks in the rails that go up on the side here. I'm gonna explain this a little bit more in detail in a second, but there's a bunch of different versions of this particular Retrax tonneau cover, and one of them actually has separate rail system built into the rails here that will allow you to add an additional bike rack or something up on top of it. This is not that one. All right, guys, so the user manual here, it's actually pretty nice. It's in color. I like color user manuals here. So what we're going to do first is we're going to remove the shipping material. So the first step is to remove the screws, shipping brackets, and white shipping tubes from the sides. You can see them, obviously, right there. My lovely assistant is removing the screws here. And just like that, the tonneau cover is ready for the next step, which in our colorful, really nicely laid out instructions is to install the rails to the canister. You can see it says lift up the lock cover and open lock by pressing the release button. Yeah, you get the idea. So as you can see, we got the left rail already in place. We're gonna put the right one on for you to see, but basically these are the screws that comes with the kit. They're just little Phillips head screws. There's two of them that will secure that right rail to the actual tonneau cover canister box. Now you can see there's also a piece of cork tape right there. We'll just remove that. That's just for shipping purposes. Now, the instructions do tell you to roll out the tonneau cover between 6 and 8 inches. We have somewhere around there. And then you'll actually roll the side rail onto the rollers on the side right here. These silver things are actually rollers of the tonneau cover. Just roll that rail on into place and then put the two screws up in here. So from the side, you can see where the two screws go, right there and right over there. And that's really the only thing that holds the side rails to the canister. So step number 3 is to put on the back panel. So this panel here will actually cover up the back side of the canister here. and it will give it like the finishing touch as well as a weather seal on the back. So this will slide in between the two rails and then get bolted down through. These screws here are the ones that will be holding on the back panel. As you can see, they're flat Allen key style screws to give it more of a finished look. And you can see right here is where they go in. Again, holding that back panel into place. You can already see the back panel with the actual tonneau cover here is all going to look like one solid piece, and it's going to seal real nicely against the back cab portion of the bed of the truck. So yeah, it's going to look really awesome. Like I said, this is the Retrax Pro MX, so this is all metal. You could literally stand on this, and I've actually seen some videos of people online standing on this once it's installed on the truck. Maybe we'll try that, maybe. I don't know if I really love that idea. Even if you can do it, doesn't mean you should, you know. But anyway, we're gonna finish this up, and then the next step, I believe, is actually to get this thing up, up into the truck. So let's do that. Now, for getting this entire canister thing the entire way into the truck, if you have the bed tie downs like I do here, you're going to want to make sure these are out of the way, because from factory, they're way up here and they will interfere with the canister. So mine are far enough back, I think we're good. We're going to go ahead and slide this into place.
Set it down. There we go. There we go.
All right, so here it is basically in place, and as you can see, it will slide right past the ram bar here. We don't have it slid all the way up yet. I just wanted to show you. Number one, you're gonna wanna move those lugs. If you have these, move them all the way to the back, because it will be hard to put this in place with those anywhere further forward than this. So the rest of it will just be sliding this thing forward, and then we'll move on to the next step. All the way to the back, yep. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So that's sealed against the back side of the bed now, sealed on the sides here. And these things are still visible, which is pretty cool. So this is a stake pocket. If you guys saw the previous video, I put in these little stake pocket covers that have what looks like an American flag on it, and they're still visible, which is cool. So let's move on to the next step, get this thing clamped down to the truck, and we're moving along pretty well. So the next step here, guys, is talking about putting the shipping bracket that we took off. So the white bracket that was in place before, we're gonna put that on the very end of the rails here, and then we're going to close the tailgate, and this is going to space out the entire thing so that the front and rear is perfectly spaced for water purposes. So basically it will seal against the tailgate and against the front as good as possible. So like I said, these are the shipping brackets that we're using right now to space out the rear rails here. So you want that part right there, which is going to end up being, what they say, 1/4 of an inch?
1/8.
1/8 of an inch. That's going to space out the part of the rail that actually the rollers ride on, and you want that right up against the back of the tailgate here. So that spacer will give you all the space you need to put this perfectly where it needs to be for watertight purposes, as well as perfect fitment. So the next step is to start putting the brackets in. So you can see they both go in right in between the two white nylon screw looking things. So this one's held in by itself. This one back here, we're gonna have to tighten them down. So this is what will ultimately hold the rail in place here. So again, it's gonna be just slightly over that stake pocket, but it's going to provide a nice seal all the way along. Now, one other thing you're gonna wanna keep in mind is this seal up front right here. You're gonna wanna make sure that that is sticking out. So as you can see, it's kind of outside of the bed part of the truck. That is what's going to keep the water out from the inside right there as well. So we're going to go ahead and tighten down these brackets here, and then we will catch you back here for the next step. All right, so here we are. The brackets are in place. The seals are all good. You can see it's all sealed along here. The only part that is even a little bit up is right there. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see it. And it's just barely. Like I said, this is not going to be 100% watertight, even if it didn't have the ram bar. Up here, you got the weather seal like that. We obviously have opened and closed the tonneau cover a couple times now, and there's no problems at all with fitment. And I didn't have to change any screws on this. You can see the tolerances here. They're not even close to that screw. I mean, that's still close to maybe a 1/4 inch away. I saw a lot of people changing out screws and stuff. I haven't seen a reason to do it. Like, me and my friend are installing this, and it seems fine. We're basically done at this point, minus attaching the drain tubes on the inside, which we're going to do here in a second, and removing all of the protective kind of plastic up there on the canister. But other than that, you can look inside here, it's all tight and nothing's rubbing, nothing's not sealing correctly because of the ram bar. I'm not sure if maybe they'd redesign this thing or what, but I read a lot of people having issues with the way that these seal, and you can see it is sealed perfectly all the way along other than right there, but changing out that bolt head's not going to make a difference. I don't know. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I would rather it fit perfectly anyway. This one was manufactured at the very end of 2022, so maybe they changed something. I don't know. We're going to finish this up and we'll talk a little bit more about it. So one more time, I want to go over the brackets here, guys, because the way that that bracket is designed is obviously it pinches between the rails of the tonneau cover and the rails of the actual truck. So you're pinched between two pieces of metal, but you can see the white nylon adjustment screws there. And if you look down the side here, you can see those actually dictate how much of a pinch there is. So how much these rails will move back and forth. Now, if you look down the rail here, we got it as close to perfectly straight as possible. Now, I could theoretically release those nylon screws a little bit and clamp it down harder with the metal clamps, which would then move that rail closer to over this. But I don't see the purpose of doing that. Because if I do that, then I would have to replace this bolt with something more like a button cap screw. But as you can see, they're perfectly down the center. And see if I can get you a shot here. It is about, that weather seal is over top of the truck about an inch. So I mean, I don't see a reason to push it any further than that. And just like the same on this side, just like on the driver's side, it's perfectly straight down the rail. I don't see any reason to adjust this any further because you can see again, the weather seal right there is on by about an inch all the way down the entire rail. I don't see any reason to mess with this, but I guess your mileage may vary. I'm just kind of concerned because I was told a million times that we were going to need some special bolts. I don't see a reason. I'm not going to harp on this any longer though. I'm sure some of you guys out there are going to tell me that there is a special reason, but I don't see it. There's more than enough seal happening here. The roller comes back and forth very smoothly. Yeah. I mean, as you can see, that rolls very smoothly. Anyway, we're gonna take off that protective plastic, throw on the drain tubes, and then we're pretty much done. I mean, this was a really, really simple install. I was expecting it to be a lot more involved because of all of the talk of special bolts for the ram bar, but I think we're good. Obviously, these are water drain tubes. So any water that will get into that canister will basically drain right out the side of the truck. So here we have my friend sitting on the tonneau cover. You can see there's really not much flex at all. How much you weigh?
180.
It's holding it just fine. This thing's pretty quality. I really, really like the way it's set up. This particular one does not have any kind of rail system on top to add anything additional. I didn't want that. I specifically got the one that I got here for a reason. You can get it in power. I didn't want to do that either because then it's just one more thing to run. But looking back on it, maybe I should have done the power. I'm kind of thinking that would be okay too. But that's pretty much it. So maybe we'll get some drone shots because it looks nice. And it's really, from the side of the truck, you really can't tell anything's installed until you go up a little bit higher. And of course, this truck's already so freaking big. You don't usually go much higher. So just kind of showing the operation of this thing, if you guys haven't seen this, this is where the keyhole is at. So you just pop that open. Obviously it's a rubber flap, kind of keeps the keyhole dry, but right now it's unlocked. Obviously that's locked now. So if I want to push this button, can't do it. So anything that's in there is pretty secure. You'd have to really start cutting into things to steal anything out of the bed. Now, obviously we can go in here, unlock it, and then we can press this button that pops up. That will allow you to slide the cover back and forth. Now, the really big benefit of this particular one is if you have something you just want to stick out just a little bit out of the tailgate area, you can lock it down right there. Anywhere you want to lock it, you can. and you can have just a little opening that will hold like a floor jack or something. The handle of a floor jack would come right up through here, and you can actually put this tight against it so it doesn't roll around in the bed. There's a lot of benefits to this thing. I really, really like it. Yeah, again, you just pop that up, and then you're free to slide it back, move it forward. If you want to put it into a different position, we'll put it right there instead. You can lock it down anywhere you want. Obviously, you have a lot of different options with tonneau covers. You have the ones that will kind of tri-fold flap up to the front. None of them really have the functionality or the versatility of the Retrax. So definitely interesting. If you guys are interested in something like this where you have just the options of going wherever you want with it, the Retrax is where you want to be, obviously. Now that the sun went down a little bit, you can see a little bit better the weather seal here. That's really the only spot that isn't in perfect contact with the rest of the bed rail there, just right there. Other than that, like I said, it's far enough away from that bolt, it's not an issue. All right, guys, that is going to do it for today's video. Like I said, this thing installed a lot easier than I expected because I didn't have to really mess around with any kind of the ram bar bolts or anything. Everything fit really nicely. It looks awesome. The functionality seems to be there. Of course, if you take a pressure washer to it, it's going to let some water in. That's just the way tonneau covers work. They're never 100% watertight. It's going to keep water out. It's just not going to be totally watertight. Anyway, that's it for the video. Like I said, I will link everything in the description down below. If you guys are interested in grabbing one of these, check out Real Truck. They have one of the best prices available for it as well. And whatever else you want from their website, they have a lot of stuff for Ram, the TRX, any truck you really have, to be honest with you. It's Real Truck for a reason. There's all kinds of truck parts. If you liked what you saw, guys, please smash that thumbs up button. Let me know you're liking the content so I can keep creating this kind of stuff for you. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We're gonna have loads of content like this coming you're not gonna wanna miss. And as always, guys, I will catch you in the next upload.